I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Well, it's already started. We're only 30 days into this current state of emergency lockdown in Vancouver with the current COVID-19 pandemic that's ongoing and kind of, playing out day by day here. We're in uncharted waters here. How this is going to move going forward, nobody really knows. I'm just taking everything day by day, staying calm, relaxing, actually enjoying a little bit of my downtime right now. Things are still on lockdown. Although I'll give you guys more updates as we move on here. I am looking to start back up business as usual starting in May, putting out my listings again and going from there. But starting to see all kinds of articles coming out now, these doom and gloom, doomsday predictors that are saying that the demise of the Vancouver real estate market is upon us. The crash is underway. Sell now, get out. Nothing new here. This has been going on for 30 years. As soon as we get any type of dark clouds or some type of negative financial situation, which happen every couple of years, out these doomsdayers come. And if you remember, I've talked about it many times, one of the main catalysts for me writing my book 5 years ago was an article very similar to this. Little different play. The one back 5 years ago was in the Globe and Mail, and it talked about a guy who had sold a Kitsilano duplex for $2.3 million, had bought it back in the early 80s for $280,000 and was somehow not entitled to that $2.5 million gain. It wasn't fair, which was absolutely ridiculous. One-sided, envious, bitter, angry. No talk about this guy in Kitsilano who had bought it in the 80s, put all his money into it, saved and scrimped for the down payment, was paying 14% interest, fixed the house up, put a basement suite in it, spent his money going forward on improving the house, lived in it, enjoyed it, rented out the basement suite for 30 years, and then cashed out. He was very entitled to those gains, and I would say that anyone doing that similar thing now will be entitled to those similar gains 30 years from now as well. But anyways, back onto what's going on right now. So they're coming. Here we are 30 days into this thing, and these vultures are already out there circling with this negative, in most cases just made up, but especially heavily biased, envious towards the negative side. So this was one that was in Bloomberg online 2 days ago, and the Vancouver Sun also picked this up. And it's entitled, "Once Safer Than Gold, Canadian Real Estate Braces for Reckoning." So it's coming, folks. The crash is coming here. So if you've got a house here in Vancouver, once we get back to business, because we're not right now, everything's on lockdown, but hey, once we start opening up for business again in May, you better sell that house quick. Get what you can for it. That's what this article is stating here. Now, it's very low on facts. As a matter of fact, there's no facts at all in this article, none. I looked up the writer of this, thinking, is she an economist? Is she involved in real estate? What is her background? She appears to be someone in her late 20s. She's just a contributor to the Vancouver Sun and Bloomberg. Very little writing history. I think she's probably just out of community college. But this is what these media outlets want. What they want to put out there. I've blogged about this many times before. Negative stuff sells. They don't want something from me or a story on how the long-term benefits of owning your principal residence in Vancouver, how it beats renting, or saving for retirement through low-cost ETFs, and you're going to have ups and downs, but it's a long-term process. Stay the course. That is boring. They're not going to sell any newspapers or get any clicks with that. What they want is they want the negative. Give us a doomsday story. Give us a story about the market crashing. That's what's going to get us some clicks. And that's what they do with these things. People have to realize that. It takes about 3 minutes to read through this thing. Again, low on facts, big on doom, big on gloom. The market's crashing. But don't let any of the facts get in the way of a good story here. Push the narrative that, hey, the day of reckoning is coming. So you can go into Bloomberg or Vancouver Sun and have a look at this joke of an article, really. But there's a bunch of what I call tells. When I'm reading an article like this, just like in playing poker. There's tells that the author, the writer, will give you on where they're coming from. Are they coming from an unbiased opinion? Are they painting both sides of the story, both pro and negative? Or are they just coming at you with the negative? And most of the negative, of course, is hypothetical situations that may or may not play out that is going to result in the day of reckoning here for Vancouver real estate. So there is a whole bunch of tells in this, takes me about 3 minutes to read through it, that you will pick up very quickly and will give you everything you need to know about who's writing this and where they're coming from. And then just to go one step further, I decided, let me plug in this girl's name who wrote this article and see what her story is. And she's written very little outside of an article she posted in Bloomberg. It got published in Bloomberg back in December. It was somewhat of a negative article on West Bank and their Vancouver House project, and how they're, also their upcoming Oak Ridge project, how they're selling out Vancouver and how it's becoming a playground for the wealthy, and didn't really like that chandelier they put under the bridge. So one of the better ways, though, there wasn't much on her that she's published, because I don't think she has. I went onto her Twitter feed and took a quick look, and I can tell you that, not surprisingly, I can tell you that she's a socialist, for sure. Her Twitter feed is filled with negative, bitter, angry, envious tweets and retweets. Articles in there about overpriced S&P 500 CEOs, they're getting paid way too much. A lot of stuff negative, of course, on Vancouver real estate and everything else. So it doesn't surprise me when I saw her Twitter feed. You can tell where she's coming from. But here are some of the tells in here, in this little 3-minute read here, on why the Vancouver market is going to crash here. And here we are a month in. We have no idea what's going to happen with Vancouver real estate once we open the doors for business again in May or June. I mean, the bottom line was this market was incredibly hot going into mid-March. Now, realtors like me have put everything on pause. Will it continue on like it was prior to COVID? Probably not, but I still think it's going to be pretty strong for a number of reasons. Low inventory, low interest rates, 3 buyers for every seller. I don't think there's going to be much panic in here. I think it's going to take a while for the market to pick up to its full steam again, but I think it's going to be business as usual. But here are some of the tells. In the article here, this is where you can pick up where they're coming from. The envy and the hate, you can pick up right away. Talks about Vancouver being, and what this had to do with the article, I have no idea, Vancouver being the supercar capital of North America. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but as soon as she mentions Vancouver in here being the supercar capital, people have ridden up the housing market, I guess, and are buying supercars here, when it's not the supercar capital of North America. I guess she's never been to Southern California or Florida, where they sell 10 times as many supercars as we do here. This is the one that really got me here. One of the reasons why the market's going to crash here in Vancouver. The city of Vancouver is headed for bankruptcy, she claims. Now, listen, if you follow me on Twitter, I posted this a week ago. Our socialist mayor here, Kennedy Stewart, and the previous mayor as well, Gregor Robertson, they were good at taxing people, but they're not so good at budgeting. So the city of Vancouver now has had a huge shortfall here, I guess, from parking meter rates and park fees and other things, which is a joke. It's not true. This should not have any effect right now on the revenues 1 month in. The problem is we've got a spending problem in Vancouver. We spend way more than we need to. It's out of control. I think somebody can back me up on this. I understand that we are spending almost $1 million a day in the downtown east side with the social housing and all the other stuff that goes on there, the policing, the ambulance. I hear it's close to $1 million a day in the downtown east side, that black hole known as the downtown east side. So we have a spending problem we've had for a long time with the city of Vancouver, and I've been critical of it for a long time here. But if you believe that Vancouver, and one of the reasons she points out in here is that 25% of Vancouver homeowners are not going to be able to pay their property taxes that are due. Now, if you really believe that Vancouver is going bankrupt, boy, you don't understand how city budgets work, how taxation works. First off, you are never going to be able to not pay your property taxes. How it works is if you go more than a year in arrears on your property taxes, the City of Vancouver will put a lien on your property and or they will put it up for auction. Now, I stopped following this stuff 10 years ago, but I know in cities like Richmond, every year they will publish a list of homes that are going up for auction. These are homes that are in arrears on their property taxes. But I can tell you that 99.9% of those homes never get actually sold at auction. And just prior to it, they will get paid out, either by the owner or the bank or whatever will pay that out. So it's the same thing in Vancouver. You can't avoid paying property taxes. There's two things insured in life: death and taxes. So they will recoup or eventually get any delinquent property taxes, I can assure you that. What Vancouver has is a spending problem. You know, a city like, I was reading, a city like Burnaby, much smaller city, has almost $1 billion, $1 billion in an emergency fund for things like what's going on right now. Vancouver, of course, we run paycheck to paycheck here with our goofy mayors that we've had the last 10 years here. We're big on spending, not very good on budgeting, and we like to tax everyone to death here as well. But listen, the City of Vancouver is not going bankrupt. It's a ploy here for our mayor to get he's asking for $200 million from the federal government to bail us out. They'll probably give it to him, but they are not going to go bankrupt. And this author obviously does not have a clue what she's writing about here to insinuate that that's one of the reasons why you better sell out of Vancouver real estate here. You know, the point I want to make here is we are a month into this. We do not know where this is going to go. But you need to ignore these fear-mongering, doom and gloom type articles. And, you know, they publish these because they get some clicks. It's the only way they can. Hit us, the publishers of these newspapers and websites, give me some doom and gloom stories. The market's going to crash. They're not going to do an article about how great a long-term value in holding Vancouver real estate is or saving for your retirement. They want the stock market's going to crash, get out, and the day of reckoning is coming for Vancouver real estate based on vague information here. The final thing that they also pointed out in this article, which was also a real laugher, talked about people not being able to make their mortgage payments. Some of them are deferring their mortgages, which they are for sure, because hey, we all know that people live paycheck to paycheck here. You know, what they don't talk about though is that most people are buying homes now with conventional mortgages, 20% down. BC, at least up until a few years ago, had the highest percentage of owners that own homes clear title. They don't even have a mortgage on them. But of course, you're always going to get those people. They wouldn't be borrowing from a major lender because major lenders like Royal Bank and TD are incredibly strict with getting a mortgage. You can't over leverage, as I said before on an earlier blog here. But they are going to these secondary lenders, these third-tier loan shark lenders that are lending them. They're going to be the ones that are in trouble. But they went on to the article insinuating, based on the fact that some people are deferring their mortgage, that once we open back up in May, we could see 2% of all the properties in the Lower Mainland for sale. And if that happened, the market is going to crash. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. If we listed 2% of all the homes in the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board, we would be absolutely flooded with listings. So as we speak right now, listings are at an all-time low for good reason. Nobody's listing anything, and most properties have been taken off the market until May or June when we start to get things opened up again. I think as we sit right now, we're at about 6,500 to 7,000 listings currently in the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board. On an average month, or during an average time when we don't have a lockdown, we're usually at 11, 12, 13,000 listings. And remember, prior to this, we were in a fairly strong seller's market. Active sales to listing ratio around 25 to 27%, meaning that for every 100 homes listed, 27 are getting sold every day. That is considered a seller's market, not a buyer's market. Now, I don't even know, maybe someone can comment on here, what 2% would equate to as far as numbers for listed homes, condos, detached, everything. I think it would probably be somewhere around 30,000 listings, 40,000 listings. I'm not too sure. It would be huge. So absolutely, if this played out like she's claiming here, for sure, we're going to get, the market would crash if we had 30 or 40,000 listings. That would be 4 times what we normally have. Is that going to happen? I'm going to say no, highly unlikely. I guess anything could happen. But let's wait and see, shall we? Avoid these articles, folks. And then, of course, in here, it doesn't surprise me, they roll out some Dr. Dooms in here that she quotes just briefly in here. We all know who some of these people are. They've been negative on Vancouver real estate for decades now, calling for that crash. You know, these articles, I went into the Vancouver Sun and they had some comments in there. And the comments are, of course, thumbs up. Yeah, the day of reckoning is coming. You know, this is so typical. I've seen this so many times over the years here. They write these things for these misery loves company crowd. I know most of my loyal viewers here, or anyone that owns a home and has had a home here for 10 or 15 or 20 years, living in their principal residence, enjoying it, they've seen the values go up. They know that, hey, we're going to get some down years. There's always some good years and down years. That's the way real estate works. But I know they're just blowing this thing off. As most people, anyone that owns assets or real estate would be. But who they appeal to here are the ones that have made some bad decisions in their life. I'm going to be blunt here. They have. I look at the comments and they're all similar. They're all people that are, yeah, market's overpriced. This should crash. Well, the crash is starting. I'm already seeing the crash starting. I saw a house sell at $50,000 below asking price. They're desperate. Just made up, folks. That's made up comments. These are people, that misery that loves company crowd, that makes them feel better about some bad decisions they've made. They'll show this to their wife. See, honey, the day of reckoning is coming. Hey, we've been waiting for this for 20 years, but hey, now it's coming. Aren't you glad we didn't buy that Yaletown condo 10 years ago? Hey, we'd be up $500,000 on it now, but that's good that we didn't buy, because the day of reckoning, according to this girl that wrote this, is going to come, and we're going to now be able to buy that Yaletown condo for 50% off. It's not going to happen, folks. You're just beating yourself up reading these articles and commenting on this stuff. This misery loves company crowd. Finally, I'll just leave you with, as I've been pounding home and I talk about it in my book here, real estate does not go up in a straight line. I don't know what the results of this COVID-19 will be. It's way too early. We're not going to see how this is going to play out until this fall, probably. You know, I think that the Vancouver market, as far as high quality Vancouver real estate, downtown condos, Yaletown, Mount Pleasant, east side homes, west side detached homes, are going to stay pretty solid, like they always have, because we're not building any more supply. The demand is high. 40,000 new people coming into the province. There's 3 buyers for every seller. You're always going to get some panic sellers here and there and some weak hands. And Vancouver real estate does not go up in a straight line, just like the stock market doesn't go up in a straight line. There's going to be some good years, and then there's going to be some years where it treads water or maybe goes down 5 or 10%. But I think I've always painted a balanced picture with my blog here. Unlike a lot of these envious articles you read that they're totally biased towards the negative. I've always said real estate's not perfect. Buy it, hold it, enjoy it. You need a principal residence. You need a roof over your head. Take advantage of all the tax benefits you get from it. Same thing with saving for retirement. Put your money into a good low-cost ETF. Don't worry about the day-to-day short-term fluctuations in it. It's a 20, 30, 40-year process, and you will do fantastic. You know, I tell people, you can buy the greatest companies in the world, which is what I own. I only buy the best. I only buy high quality Vancouver real estate in downtown and Mount Pleasant, Vancouver East Side, and I only buy the highest quality equities. I've got lots of money in just S&P 500 ETF, Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund, and then I own about 40 individual companies. The best of the best: Procter & Gamble, Apple, Johnson & Johnson, TD Bank, Royal Bank, Brookfield Asset Management, Macdonald's, Pepsi, Visa, Home Depot, Costco. These are the best of the best. They've got strong balance sheets, wide competitive moats. Competition's going to have a hard time penetrating it. They are run by incredibly smart CEOs, which on a sidetrack, this girl that wrote this article complaining about all these high-priced American CEOs. Listen, I'm more than happy to pay a guy like Alex Gorski from Johnson & Johnson $10 million a year. As a matter of fact, I'd probably say he's underpaid. He has made me a tremendous amount of money. What I've always said to people, you're not smart enough to time a market. I'm not smart enough. I just do it the easy and simple way, and I know my limitations. My limitations are I'm not a speculator, I'm not a trader, both in real estate and in equities or saving for my retirement. So what I do is I put my faith in just buying the best high quality Vancouver real estate I can and keeping it for long periods of time and putting tenants in it. And I know I'll be rewarded, which I have been over the last 30 plus years. And when it comes to the equities and investing in the stock market, I put my faith in guys like Alex Gorski or Howard Schultz or one of 30 other CEOs that are smart, that are going to manage my money and keep those profits coming in those companies. But the point I want to make here is you can buy the best of the best, the Macdonalds, the Pepsis, the Johnson & Johnsons, the Apples, and you are never going to get a straight rocket ride up with those. Even the best companies in the world will run into some choppy, turbulent times where the stock price goes down. Always. That's just the price you pay for getting superior returns, whether it's in real estate or the stock market. But it shouldn't matter to you, as I've been pounding home to people. We don't know what Vancouver real estate is going to do after this COVID-19. But whatever it does, if it does go down 5 or 10%, it will be temporary. Use it as a buying window. But back to the companies, they are always going to run into some choppy waters. Johnson & Johnson I've held for over 20 years. I've been through some incredible years with Johnson & Johnson, and I've been through some years where I've been down 10 or 15%. That's just the way it goes. You can't avoid it. But if you buy the right companies with strong balance sheets, competitive moats, incredible free cash flow, and being managed and run by very smart CEOs, you will always be rewarded for it. I'll just give you a quick example. McDonald's. I've owned McDonald's for over 20 years. It has rewarded me handsomely. I'm probably up 800, 900% on my McDonald's shares over the last 20 years, maybe more with the dividend. You know, McDonald's is an incredible company. It's one of those companies that Warren Buffett would often say a ham sandwich could run McDonald's. Now he's being a little bit, facetious there. But it's an incredible business model that McDonald's has. I mean, they're really a real estate company disguised as a fast food chain. But, they had an incredible CEO through the 90s by the name of Skinner. Incredible CEO, stock went up, dividends kept increasing, it was fantastic. He retired and they brought on a guy by the name of Johnson. Johnson was a ham sandwich. Terrible CEO, way in over his head. I don't know what they were thinking with this guy, but it never takes too long for the board of directors and the other people in management to figure this out. That this Johnson guy is not the guy for the job. We made a mistake. Stock price of McDonald's dropped about 50%. The franchisees were furious with him. He drove McDonald's, he was slowly driving them into the ground. They got rid of him, brought on a guy by the name of Steve Easterbrook, who immediately turned that company around, and McDonald's shares doubled pretty much in the next 18 months. That's the difference in what good companies will do. They will always survive if you buy the right companies. Every now and again, though, they'll run into some choppy waters, hire a bad CEO, hire a ham sandwich, but they'll get rid of it, just stay the course. As a matter of fact, buy some shares when they've been beaten up, because it doesn't take long before they figure it out and get back on track. That's what I've always found with the good companies. I mean, Johnson & Johnson has had so many lawsuits over the years, talcum powder, opiate lawsuits. Stock gets beaten up, but they get through these with good management. A guy like Alex Gorski behind the helm. Put your money in a guy like him. He'll reward you. He's a smart guy, way smarter than I am. Know your limitations. Put your money and your faith into smart people that are going to manage it for you, or if it's in real estate, buy the best. Get a realtor who's going to get you into a high quality condo or townhouse or detached home, and just keep it. And for God's sake, ignore these articles. Once safer than gold, Canadian real estate braces for reckoning. One's safer than gold, too. I don't even know where that quote came from. I don't think real estate in Vancouver is as safe as gold. I don't own any gold. I never would own any gold. This goes to show how ridiculous this article is. Have a look at what the price of gold is for the last 20 years. It's done nothing. Doesn't pay you anything to hold it. That's why I don't own gold. Real estate in Vancouver is up 500%. Gold, it spikes up and down with volatility, and in times like this, it's up. But once this clears, it goes right back down again. Gold is just a hedge. The reason I don't own it is because it's meant as a trade, as a hedge short term. I would never want to hold gold for the last 10 or 15 or 20 years. It hasn't done anything for you. But there's no day of reckoning coming, not when it comes to Vancouver real estate. I can't speak for, cities in Saskatchewan or Manitoba. I don't follow those cities. But in Vancouver, I think if you're a homeowner or you're thinking about buying, I would ignore articles like this. Stay the course. We'll get through the current situation here, and let's see how things unravel here. Way too soon to tell. We're 30 days into this. Let's take it week by week, month by month, but I'm certainly not losing any sleep over this. I'm pretty certain it's going to be business as usual here, back by the summer. Homes are still going to be selling. I know some people don't want to hear that. They think that the day of reckoning is here and the prices should come down. I hate to break it to you, but it's probably not going to happen. But the important thing I tell people is stop listening to this stuff. Take control of your life. Stop pointing fingers and reading these misery loves company type articles that blame everybody but you for your lack of success. That's how losers think. Those are the ones that are giving the thumbs up to these articles. Anyone who's got anything going for them either doesn't read these or just gets a good laugh at these things. They do. There's no two ways about it. There's only two ways to go in life. You're positive, can do, take control of your life, work, save your money, pay yourself first, buy your principal residence because renting long term is nowhere, save for your retirement, or you're going to react to things. You're going to sit back, point fingers, blame everybody but yourself for your lack of success. And that's what these articles do. They make these guys feel a little better about themselves. Get away from it. If that's you, it's never too late to turn a leaf and go in the other direction. That's why I continue to do these blogs. I've got my core followers here that are picking up what I'm putting down here. But I always convert many, many people every year that come over to me, say they've been watching my blogs for years, and I change their thinking. And that's why I continue to do these blogs. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, stay safe. I'll see you next week.